symbol of excellence in sports entertainment.
What's happening, everyone? The Job Guys back with you again after, quite an eventful weekend, Nick. We had 3 wrestling pay-per-views this weekend, including the NXT battle going on Sunday afternoon. We are going to talk about the 2 big ones and the fallout, more specifically, of the 2 big ones. Nick, your overall thoughts on this weekend, because holy cow.
Holy crap.
We knew things might be a little strange. We thought we might be getting some surprise last night after the AEW pay-per-view. What we got was shockwaves sent through the wrestling industry.
Yeah, I mean, another, I guess, pipe bomb, if you will.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess we can talk about and get into it. Was this good? Was this bad? It certainly capped off the weekend. It certainly is what everybody's talking about, even though there was a very high-profile AEW pay-per-view. There was a high-profile WWE pay-per-view. Triple H had a very up-close and personal interview. All this stuff kind of got shoved to the back burner.
Yeah.
Because this Punk issue kind of culminates a week plus, maybe 2 weeks of this just really getting, like, every day it seemed like something new was getting dropped, wrestler getting in a fight backstage, or differences in creative, or people wanting out of their contracts and wanting to leave.
Yeah.
And it really was a very interesting end of the weekend.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, you've alluded to it. We've been hearing about backstage issues. We've been hearing about arguments and things going on. And wow, did not expect this. They had a big meeting last week. Thought maybe that took care of some of the noise a little bit. It apparently did not. It apparently did not at all. Now, before we do any of this, it could all be a work. Work. But if it is, that might be even worse, because they look like idiots if this is a work, because it makes them look like their company is just out of control. Look, makes them feel like you don't know what you're doing. And most people think it's real. If they find out it isn't down the road, then they're going to feel stupid as the consumer. Oh, you worked me. That sucks. They're not going to be happy about that. So just throwing that out there, that there is a possibility. But man, the way things are going right now and the realism going on, and let's get into it. For those that didn't see it, pay-per-view happens last night. CM Punk wins the AEW championship back from Jon Moxley. Get to the post-media scrum. Nick Hausman somehow gets into it a little bit about Colt Cabana, and they're using his government name. I think it's Scott Colton. Colton. And he won't refer to him except for by his government name, and he's doing and he just starts going off, and he's talking about, it's 2022. I haven't been friends with this man in 10 years, and I have to sit up here on my time. And well, then don't. If it's your time, don't do it then. Just say no comment or whatever. And then he just takes a left turn and starts talking about, quote, we have irresponsible people who call themselves EVPs and couldn't effing mortgage or manage a Target. And they are spreading lies and BS and put the media that I got somebody fired when I don't have a thing to do with it. I want nothing to do with him. I don't care where he works or he doesn't work, where he eats, where he sleeps. The fact that I have to get up here and do this in 2022, well, then don't. And then TK sitting next to him was like, oh, I should have nipped this in the bud to begin with. It's my fault. Well, he doesn't stop there. He just keeps going, ripping on the EVPs. We knew he was ticked at Hangman, went into business for himself a couple of weeks ago in the ring, called him out because he says Hangman went into business for himself a couple of months back. He says that was regrettable. It was regrettable that I did that. And then he continues to butcher this man, calling him an empty-headed blonde idiot. And the EVPs and the made fun of Reseda, where those guys are from, and he just kept going and going and going. Woe is me, poor Punk, poor this.
If this is not a work, this guy has the thinnest skin. And this guy's whole character is built off a gimmick, an idea of a pipe bomb, Ryan, saying something that's not politically correct or not.
That's all
really,
he's ever done.
That's all except when it happens to him.
Yep.
You know, that's the problem with this guy. I mean, if it's a work, great. It plays right into that angle. I guess you can try, but I just don't see how this helps anything and makes everything looks. You're going to backplay on the Tony Khan comment where he said he doesn't want to be part of the show, because if this isn't a work, if this is a work, Tony Khan has to be like involved in this storyline somehow.
Well,
I mean, he's going to,
yeah.
There we go. We get another evil boss. We get him.
Right.
I don't know, man. I'm hoping this isn't, but you know what? You are hitting that audience when you said they could be offended. I don't know that I would be, because I'm a sports entertainment fan. If you swerve me, you swerve me. I don't care. But that audience that AEW brings in, they are, for better or worse, a lot of smart marks. They are a lot of people who don't like to be told things. They are a lot of people who they feel they know a lot about the industry. What, you can argue yes or no. I'm not saying they don't do or don't. I think you're right.
They feed off knowing.
I don't think they're going to be like. I think you're right. I don't think they're going to be like a huge swerve like this.
No, because those people like to be on the inside, and I say we do too.
Sure,
it's cool to know things that you're not supposed to know. Well, that audience that's like their entire being, that, hey, I know something you don't, and I'm super smart at wrestling. And if you swerve them, they're going to feel stupid. So it's not going to work. They're going to feel like, hey, you got me, man. And they're not going to like that.
And Ryan, can you confirm, is Colt Cabana, they honestly did have a fallout. They did have illegal issues. Have they not been speaking since, like, what he says, 2012, 2013?
As far as we know, I mean,
they would have had to squash this recently if this is a work. I mean,
right. And this all started because he was in the Dark Order. And then all of a sudden he was just gone. And then we heard he didn't get his contract renewed. Then the fans and other people in the back revolted because they liked the guy. And then we find out, well, he just basically got moved to ROH, so he wouldn't have to be around Punk. And that's what Punk was saying. I don't care where he works. I have nothing to do with that guy. Whatever. But the fact that, and let's put it out there, if you didn't realize, if you've never watched us before, be perfectly transparent, and I'm going to try to give this guy all the benefit of the doubt in the world, because I don't like the other guys either. I am not a CM Punk fan. What we saw last night, you and I, completely transparent, have been saying this about this guy for over 10 years, that this is the way this guy is, and I don't like it, and he's a detriment and a cancer to that locker room. And anyway, you're seeing it again, and it's always poor Punk, and I'm not getting what I wanted, and people aren't treating me right. Bro, you're the top guy. Like,
it's amazing how we always say you are the best gimmick you can be is you with the volume turned up. This is who he is.
He's always on 10 though. Volume's always cranked.
But this is who he is. This is not. This comes off, if this is a work or real, the reason why you cannot distinguish is because this is him.
Right.
This is him.
Like, and that's why it works, because you never know.
No, you don't. He is this kind of guy. He does think he's that great. He does take things to heart. I mean, he does go after fans. I mean, he is a jerk to people.
He did it Wednesday. He went after a fan.
Yeah. I mean, there's that, not just like a random one where, like, someone points into a general direction and says, hey, I'll take you on, big boy, if you want to. Singles the guy out.
Yeah.
I mean, but I don't know, right? I just don't know. I don't think you needed to go this far if you were going to do a WWE invasion style angle or whatever.
Right.
anti-WWE invasion style angle, I should say. I don't know.
Well, and now, let's get down to some other things about it. First, I want to say this about Punk before we move into, okay, what happened in the fighting allegedly that happened afterward. This guy, one of the things he said was, and I somewhat agree with him, but Hangman had real life interview where he said something about how he doesn't need to take advice from people. And I knew that wasn't going to go over well. And Punk went off about that too. How dare you not want to take advice from me? And then he talked about Terry. That's like me not taking advice from Terry Funk and all these. And he's naming these people like he's the Terry Funk. He ain't Terry Funk, And it's just funny. If they don't like him, I want to go to his pinned tweet that has been his pinned tweet for almost 2 years now, if not 2 years. CM Punk, May 25th, 2020. Some of you need to stop listening to criticism from people you would never ask advice from. Well, guess what? Maybe they don't want your advice. Maybe they don't like you, pal, no matter what you've done in this business. And you have done a lot more than anyone in the elite has. But maybe they don't want your advice because they don't respect you because you're a jerk. So maybe they don't want your advice. So maybe they are not listening to your criticism. One other tweet that he sent out, and in my mind, this guy just is a martyr, or he's making himself.
Well, most certainly.
That's all this guy does.
Woe is me.
Yep. And he takes every opportunity to make everything about him. Now, he was asked this question, but he won't shut up about the whole Sasha Banks and Naomi thing. He will not shut up. Now, he's been asked about it, but he's been giving his opinion about that. And one of the things, again, a tweet, May 21st, doesn't matter if your opinion of your coworker is positive or negative. Stand with them because they will do the same thing to you and you'll wish someone helped. Trust me, you're expendable. Together, you're unstoppable. Now, we've said this guy's a hypocrite for 10 years. If that isn't the most hypocritical thing I have ever heard, doesn't matter if your opinion is positive or negative. You stand with them together. You're expendable, pal. So are you. Because you've been gone the last 3 months, and you've been gone the last 8 years before that or whatever it's been. 7.
Yeah, and unless this thing is a work. But they just had numbers, too, as much as he thinks he is. He really hasn't skyrocketed the ratings of this show from where they were to where they are now.
They went back up when he came back a couple weeks ago. But I think a lot of that is because of the controversy. People want to know what's going to – and maybe, again, everybody's getting worked. But if they are, it ain't going to end well because people are going to be mad. Anyway, the fallout. He leaves. Apparently, there's a fight in the back. The Bucks and Kenny went and confronted him. A melee happened. His boy, who was his manager that came out last week, Ace Steel or whatever his name is, apparently threw a chair at somebody. He apparently bit somebody. One of the Bucks has a black eye now.
This is where it starts to seem a little bit like they're biting and throwing chair. I mean, but I guess
it doesn't surprise me, though. Like, 2 things. The fight, Nick, what should happen here? If there really was a fight, I think the guy should be suspended anyway, based on what he said in the presser. Now there's a fight, allegedly. What happens? What should Tony Khan do? And Tony Khan, that man sat there and he kind of made some squinty faces while Punk was talking, but he sat there and let the guy butcher his entire company. I work with children. You keep making me work with dicks. And Tony Khan's just sitting there taking it.
For the fans, I thought the best thing that we could do as a company was bring MJF back.
Because he wants me to work with pricks constantly. That's what it is.
Nevertheless,
we're done.
I thought he came here to work with all these people.
Well, that's the other thing. I came here to put people over, to build new stars. Did you? Because you just buried all of the new guys who came here.
Can you imagine Vince McMahon sitting next to someone as they're just going off, or Triple H? If it's not a work, this has got to be like the beginning of the end for this. I mean, this is terrible. This looks so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, Impact went longer, I think, than this before they started having some stuff in the back.
I got two big CM Punk friends. One of them hit me up today, and he has CM Punk tattoos. That's how big of a fan this guy is. He's bought every single piece of merch CM Punk has ever had. Every shirt, everything. Went to Chicago to see him. All this stuff. And he's like, he's pissed. He's like, I feel like everything that this guy believed in or talked about is BS. I'm like, well, I've been trying to tell you for a while, but like, so he's pissed. And then I got another friend that he was pissed 2 weeks ago, and he's a big CM Punk fan. He's gotten every single pay-per-view they've ever done, watched everything. When they pulled whatever they've been pulling 2 weeks ago, he said, I'm out. Screw this. And he didn't watch any of this. And he didn't even know about any of this fight because he was checked out. But, yeah. Well, what does Tony do? Does he suspend him? I mean, he suspended Eddie Kingston for 2 weeks. And it was nothing like this.
I would assume if he doesn't, it's a work.
Right.
If he doesn't, because he's going to keep the belt on TV or something like that. But, you know, on the flip side, even if he does get suspended, it could still be played into as a work. But
well, that's what they're going to end up doing. Yeah,
that's what I think that's probably the best way you do it, and then try to get he's got to rein some people in here that I am, you know, the main guy. But this is, we've said this, the cook's in the kitchen back there, man. This is, I mean, you may not like the way, you know, maybe some people are super creative, but maybe they need to be reined in a little bit, or you have this problem.
Every one of those guys thinks they're Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is they're all that's he's number one on the list. Yeah. They all think that they're Austin and Hogan. Omega and them do because they drew in Japan.
Right.
And then they started this company and it had a lot of buzz and everything. So they think they're amazing. Punk, we know, thinks he's amazing. He always has. I should be in WrestleMania's main event. No, you shouldn't. You're not The Rock and you're not John Cena. Sorry.
And their crowds
and the other guys too, though. The Bucks, all those guys.
And
Jericho.
Their crowds feed them, though. Their crowds, I'll give it to the AEW fans. They are live. They are interactive. They are nuts in that building. And when you're in there and you see 20,000 people screaming, chanting, yelling your name, really into it, standing up for a 17 match pay-per-view, or whatever they start to believe the hype.
Two more things again about Punk. He did all this while he's eating a muffin, and he's sitting over here. Oh, and then he takes another shot, and then he eats more of his muffin, and then he rips on to it. I'm like, this guy, man.
This is from Mindy's Bakery, by the way. It's a great place in Chicago. If you like pastries and baked goods, I suggest you go there. They're closed on Mondays and Tuesdays, though.
And then the other thing he said, and he kept cutting off Tony over and over again. I don't know how many I haven't heard like anybody talk about this. He said, I'm trying to run a business here. Punk said that, not Tony Khan. Punk said, I'm trying to run a business here. And I'm working with children. You're running the business. I mean,
the more you look into it, I mean, you got to think this is a work, man. It just seems like this much dirty laundry, Ryan, out there.
Well, in it again, if it is, they're even dumber than I thought because they look like idiots.
Look at you, giant idiot.
It's just dumb. Oh, but he wasn't the only one taking shots. Tony Storm gets out there, and she started taking shots at Thunder Rosa. I mean, is Thunder Rosa like the female CM Punk? She thinks she's sweet, and every girl in the back hates her, apparently. She was taking shots. Well, Thunder Rosa says she's hurt, I guess. I mean, dude, what is going on here?
I don't know.
Anyway, that's a mess. It's a mess. Oh, and MJF returned. Guess who we haven't talked about yet?
MJF.
Yeah, right. Completely overran his return, which is what everybody should have been talking about. No, instead we're talking about this garbage.
And see, that's why it's so freaking hard, because you look at it and you're like, okay, no way. I'm sitting here, no way could this be not this has to be a work. But then you're like, well, who wrote it? Because MJF's arrival was so terribly done. It's just, how is this so bad? If it's real, holy crap! I don't, right. I'm completely confused. I can't lie right now. I don't. It wouldn't shock me if it was either way. It really wouldn't.
Well, I'll tell you, with me, I've just been waiting for something like this to happen. Like, I don't feel bad. It takes a lot for me to defend the Young Bucks. And, and Punk may be completely right with everything he said. They may have gone to the Meltzers and whoever and gave them information and bad information. So Punk may have a legit point, but you don't do it the way you've been doing it.
No.
You want to fight, go fight him. Go fight him. But don't do it in a press conference. What are you doing, man? I mean, it takes a lot for me to defend the Young Bucks because I cannot stand them. I would this freaking guy. I don't know. I hope it all blows up because personally, I'm sick of it. And
well, I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, if anything, I mean, right now you're champion. That's why I can't imagine you would let this get out of hand. This guy has your belt.
Well, Tony Khan's too busy trying to be everybody's friend. And that's the one thing
What if he drops? What if he just says, I'm not coming back?
I don't know. He's in breach of contract. I
mean, I guess, but then you just put your championship. But I
don't know. They got 30 other belts, so just give, it doesn't matter. But I mean, and this one's already been interim. Every belt in the company has been interim now. I mean, who cares? This guy he's got to take control, and he's got to put his foot down and do something, and he's got to quit trying to be these people's friends.
Yeah.
Like he is marking out, I'm friends 100%. With the wrestlers, and he's got to stop that.
You have to be the bad guy. You have to. It's you can't do this because it gets out of control like this. And I sure as hell do not want to see Tony Khan as a character.
No. The other thing that was overshadowed this weekend because of CM Punk was Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre. Great match in the main event of what most people thought was a pretty great pay-per-view, Clash at the Castle. Nick, your thoughts on the finish? We have talked about it, but since then, there's been a lot of people out there. You did the wrong finish. You did the wrong finish. Your thoughts on Roman walking out, still the champion, and not giving Drew the huge moment, the guy from Scotland in the UK?
I thought it illustrated a really change of booking. This completely shocked me, Ryan. I thought they were anointing Drew in there. And I will say this, it didn't feel right. We've seen Drew as champion. I'm a Drew guy, but this doesn't seem to be the guy to pass the torch to.
You mean it didn't feel right for Drew to win?
Yes, it didn't. Yeah. And I just assumed he was. And as soon as Theory's music hit, I thought everybody in the world knew what was going to happen. Theory's going to come down. He's going to try to cash in. It's going to be a failed attempt in a triple threat. Drew's going to pin Theory. He takes the belt, saves Roman. Well, that didn't happen. He got knocked out by Tyson Fury. That was pretty cool. And then, I mean, there were a couple. I think one was a Claymore and one was a spear that I could not believe the match didn't end.
Yeah.
It was nuts. And then the Oos we all forgot about, I guess. Solo shows up.
Yes. They made you forget Solo even existed.
Yeah. I thought it was a great finish. I just don't think Drew is the guy. I think he can be a player in the main event level. I'm not saying he can't, but
not the guy to end this run.
No.
Someone who ends this run needs to be special.
Yes. And it needs to be built more than just pushed for a couple months, or half the year.
Or a month. I mean, Drew has not been really hot till lately. I've heard a lot of people say, oh, you ruined the moment. You had a chance to have that moment. And yeah, that's true. It would have been a cool moment. Definitely for the people over there, would have been a great moment for them. But the thing is, would anybody even remember that moment in a month? That isn't Hogan slamming Andre. It's like a good moment you think about, but you don't sit here and no one's going to say, hey, remember that time? Because Drew isn't at that level yet. Or Ryan, he was 2 years ago, and unfortunately the pandemic happened. So he doesn't deserve anything.
We get mad when we don't book for the show. Book for the story.
Yeah.
Right? Don't book for that night. I mean, yeah. Would it have been great to watch that place explode? How would that place exploding help tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. And you have future plans for Roman,
right?
Whether it's Cody, whether it's his family, whether it's The Rock. Do you want him to lose right now and to lose to this guy? Granted, I don't think they have anybody better right now, but still, this guy isn't the guy.
Then I would, and it stinks. Then you just kind of keep rolling, hoping you do find the guy.
Right. And I don't know if they think that's Cody. I don't know if he's going to lose to Rock. I have no idea.
The thing is, as much as I don't think it's Cody. We've already seen Drew.
Right.
So we haven't seen Cody.
Right.
So if you were going to just try one of the two, you would try Cody. I mean, I would try Lashley even over, because we've seen Drew as the guy. I don't know that Lashley has had a time as just the top Roman guy. But I don't think it should be right. I don't see anybody on the roster right now. I don't see anybody on SmackDown, on NXT, on Raw, on Wednesdays, in Japan, and wherever. I don't see anybody.
Think about this, man. People keep saying, well, it's his time. It's his turn. He got screwed from that moment because of the pandemic. And while I somewhat agree with that, the reason why this Roman thing works, the reason why Roman got over is because he does not lose, because he does have that belt. He says, I'm the head of the table. Oh, wait, and I got 2 belts to prove it. That's why it works, because he doesn't lose. And that's how he's gotten over. So if you end that, then he just goes right back to being whatever. And the reason why the title means something now is because it's not changing all the time like it did in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. That dude held the belt for 4, 5, 6, 8 years. Now, I'm not saying I want to do that, but I don't want it to be the Attitude Era where the thing is vacant, or it's this, or it's switching every other month constantly. That ruins the belt. It turns it into a prop. This makes it special. So not everybody gets a turn. Roddy Piper never got a turn. Look at all these guys.
Jake the Snake.
Jake the Snake never got a turn. Paul Orndorff, Rick Rude, all these dudes.
Dusty in WWE. Never got a turn.
Yeah. He didn't get much of anything. He got polka dots and told to beat it.
We've said this. We
don't get a turn. You got to be the man.
You deserve it is not a real champ. It's not. So, I mean,
not in this respect.
You need to be over. That's not you deserve. You need to be over to the point where not just you've been there for years. I mean, when you look down the list, it does. And you're talking to the guy who's one of the biggest Ziggler fans in the world. I freaking still am hoping every Monday that he somehow gets this push that I never saw. Never going to happen. But that guy's that guy is a former world champ. I mean, Jack Swagger, former world champ. I mean, these guys.
Right. It got to the point that who isn't a former champ?
Everybody's held it. 2/3 of New Day have held the belt. You know, not saying right or wrong, but it's just a lot of guys. It seems like, if you haven't held the belt, The Miz is a 2-time champ.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much everybody nowadays. That's why when you go back in the day and people are like, wait a minute, Piper never won the belt, and like Mr. Perfect in WWE, he held the AWA belt, but and Rude held the WCW International belt, and things like that. But people, when they hear some of these names, they can't believe it because everybody just got so used to, oh well, it's his turn now.
Right?
No, if everybody's over, then nobody's over. It's just like if everybody does an acai moonsault, then the acai moonsault turns into a right-handed punch. It wasn't the right thing to do. Not for one moment to pop 60,000 people. Because I tell you by Survivor Series, who cares? All right, now, all that said, Nick, the match itself, I thought it started a little slow. I was kind of bored, but then, holy man, that second half, anything you want to hit on, you talked about near falls. You thought it was going to be done for Roman there a little bit. I did too, but I thought, man, that last half of that match was sweet.
It was really sweet. Maybe a little bit too much Taker Sean.
1-2 kick out.
Yeah. But no, it was great. Started out slow, and that's okay. And I thought it was a really good match. And just again, I'm more of an ending guy. You got to send me home wanting more.
Yeah.
And boy, oh boy, do I want more. I can't wait to what Solo going to say. I mean, it's kind of, what do you do with Drew at this point? I mean, is Tyson Fury done? Stuff, Austin Theory. This is a new regime. At this point, can we start to expect this guy is probably not? I don't know that this is going to be a successful cash-in for this guy whenever he does get his chance.
He jobs constantly, man, and made to look like a complete idiot. Couple things on you mentioned it, because of Theory, because of Karrion Kross, you completely forgot about the Solo thing, that someday he may get called up, because they're going, look over here, look, and then they punch you over here. And that's what happened with Solo. So I thought that was great. I've been waiting for him to get called up. Gives a little fresh life to the bloodline, which I think it needs, especially if Roman isn't going to be around the next 2 months to like Survivor Series or maybe the Saudi show or whatever.
Did you see they've already put out a picture, and they got a new bloodline picture with him in it? Sami Zayn's not in it, and he texts today, "My dogs?" ?
Did he?
So I mean, you kind of like,
there you go.
You got this is interesting with Sami Zayn, and we're not Sami Zayn guys.
I can't believe I'm saying this. That dude has been awesome the last 3 weeks. He has been hilarious. When he got in the ring with those two guys, and 100, yeet. Dude, it was great. It was great. I was there for that, and I was dying laughing, man. That was such good stuff. He's been great. So new life for the bloodline, which it needs. I think it's good. So, I'm interested to see where this goes. The other big match from the show everybody's talking about, Sheamus against Gunther. It was a great match, hard-hitting match. Your thoughts on this one? I think a lot of people thought it might steal the show. It definitely did.
I thought it was great. And just, again, why we waste time talking about 5-star matches, because the ones that I keep reading 5-star from a certain person, they're the same match over and over and over again. How do you have this match is a 5-star match in a different regard? It's not going to be acai moonsaults or her.
Well, he likes this too, the hitting each other for real hard.
Got off to a great start, I thought, with their goons kind of going at it, and they stared each other down until they started just throwing some blows. It was definitely, it looked like kind of like a street fight almost. I mean, just these two brawling brutes that just go at it. And I felt that it was a big win. The way they booked the match, the way they did the match, big win for Gunther. I think Triple H, all the belts, they've really done a good job of trying to push these belts again.
Yeah, no, they absolutely have. And it started right away with the packages. I don't remember which one was first, the US or the whatever it was, but what they did with those was terrific. And they're keeping that up. And Gunther, it's how quickly, as we said, everybody forgets. They're not too mad about that name change anymore, are they? He's doing a great job. Big surprise at the beginning of that match. He gets his other dude. Imperium is now together. That made a lot of people happy because they were like, why didn't he come up to begin with the other two guys? So now Imperium's all back together. So now he's got a little crew. Going to be interesting to see where they go with there. They obviously have huge plans for him. It was awesome. Hard hitting. like everything you wanted it to be. It lived up to the hype. I thought the entire night did. Good matches. Those were the two standouts for sure.
I thought Rollins and Riddle was good too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was. Maybe a surprise finish. You know, Rollins has not won in quite a while.
Did you read 15 pay-per-views?
That's the last time he won.
15.
Like
I just got an update. He has lost. You know, you're also counting like DQs with not counting the Roman win
right
at Survivor.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Royal Rumble DQ. Since he's got a pin or a submission, I think it said 15 pay-per-views.
Wow. So that's a year and a half.
Oh, he needed that one, man. And I thought it was a big one too. Great finish. He's the best wrestler in the world. I know people want to chant what a wrestler is a lot of the time.
He is.
It's not just being able to flip and dive and jump off Titantrons and go through tables and things like that. You got to make me want to care about the matches. You look over the past year, and, you know, Roman, we say this, sitting on that island of relevancy. Yes, he's up there. Rollins' his feud with Edge. Can anybody argue that those matches weren't awesome? The
3 best matches last year.
Cody Rhodes.
3 best matches this year.
And now Matt Riddle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all this guy does is perform in big matches and give you always something new too. Mm-hmm. It seems like every time we're talking about this guy, remember that Hell in the Cell with Edge? Like, I thought that was one of the best Hell in the Cell matches I've ever seen.
Me too.
You know, and the Cody feud, he came in, it was relevant, man, and it was really good. Reminds me eerily of Shawn Michaels, like seemingly whatever feud you gave Michaels, he made it. Michaels Angle, Michaels Jericho, Michaels Hart, Michaels D. Like Michaels just performed with whoever you got, and it was good. And when I say good, memorable feuds. These are all, like, if you ask me who was the New Day feuding with 6 months ago, I don't freaking know.
Right.
Probably, you know, Seth Rollins, I remember the last year of his career.
Yeah.
Vividly.
Well, and it's funny. I'm going to say, ironically, the opposite. Tells you how good this guy is. He lost to a guy with one arm, and he's so good that people didn't hold that against him. They forgot about it. You know, he's done such a good job that they moved on from that, because that could have been bad, even though I know it's fake scripted wrestling. In turn, he lost to a guy with one arm.
The only thing worse is if the dude has hands in his pockets.
Oh, yeah, that wouldn't be good at all for numerous reasons.
You shouldn't lose to anybody with
and people, and I wouldn't remember that because I wouldn't be watching it. But, you know, that's neither here nor there.
Pockets. The 6-man tag was good on the pre-show. 6-man women's was good. Dominic seems to be getting a push, right? We're going to see what he's doing now.
See what he has.
Better than what he's doing now. I'm not big on the guy. I'm sure he's great worker, great person. Just the gimmicks I've seen haven't been big on him. Good luck with the heel.
Yeah, let's see if he has it. It was funny watching the biography on his dad. He was good in that. Like, just talking, answering questions. He seems like, and again, he just turned heel, but he seems like the nicest kid on earth. And, you know, he seems that way on TV too, but the things they've had him do and try to talk has not been good. And, you know, you can't teach everybody how to act. I mean, some people just can't do it. But when they just put a camera on him and say, hey, talk about your dad, dude, he was awesome. Like, you would never, if you watch that and then watched a promo, like if my mom saw that, she wouldn't think it's the same guy, because that's how stiff he is when he's cutting promos. But no, I thought the show looked great. I loved, you know, the setting was cool. The crowd was insane the whole time. So very good show. Interested to see where they're going from here, because they did a lot of stuff. You're like, a lot. You don't think a lot happened, but then you look back at it, because look, Solo has never been on the main roster. This Imperium guy has never been on the main roster. Dominic turns. Okay, what's going to happen there? Doesn't seem like big things, but they're all in big angles. They are all in, so they're getting thrown in. So it is going to matter.
I hope people remember what you're saying too, because these are, you know, some of these people will be the same people who say they never really gave him a shot. They never really gave.
They don't build new stars.
They're trying. No, it's just the guy didn't get over. You know, it didn't work. You know, so they are Trying.
They're trying.
I mean, yeah.
Now, last thing, Nick, before we go, speaking of the guy who's making people try, and these are not the only people he's brought up. He has now called up about 87 people from NXT. Not sure if they have a roster left down there. I think it's Mandy Rose and Braun Breaker, but Triple H, maybe assess what he has done so far first month. And then let's get into the interview he did with Ariel Helwani a little bit, because my gosh, he was an open book. And I thought it was an awesome interview and had some pretty good points there to hit at for the future of this company.
I'm loving it so far. Most of it. There is some issue that I do have. I love the belt. Like we said, the emphasis on the belts has been great.
Absolutely.
The changing, you're seeing, I think, more storylines. Even little things like Theory never got. Why isn't it Austin Theory? I like they got
Gave him his name back. Yeah.
The only really bad I really have with Triple H is just what you said. You threw so many freaking NXT guys at me right now. I am so overwhelmed, Ryan.
Every show there's a new dude.
It is. It's very, one of the turnoffs of me and Dynamite is every week there's a new dude debuting, and I can't tell the difference between all these dudes. Maybe I'd like one of them, maybe I'd like two of them,
right?
But you just keep throwing dudes at me,
When they treat it like you should know who it is, because he wrestled in PWG 4 years ago. You're like, I've never seen it.
I can't criticize AEW and not criticize WWE for this,
because we don't watch NXT.
AEW, it's the same thing as Japan. For a lot of people out there, this might be a shock. For Japan and NXT are the same freaking thing to me. I don't watch either one of them. I don't know anything about either one of them.
Yeah.
So when a dude comes over from either of those shows, I have no say, no relationship, no care. You got to introduce this guy to me. You got to build this guy to me. You got to give me some reason to like or dislike this guy or gal.
Right. Yeah. Give me a vignette. Give me something. You can't just go, hey, here's Poopsie Magoo. And then he's fighting Roman the next day. And like,
because you told me
about Poopsie Magoo.
You told me about titles that mean nothing to me. He held these 3 titles in Japan. So
did you just put a bunch of letters together? What is this?
Me and my brother
won the HWX belt. All right.
Yeah. Me and my friends on my street had fake belts too. You want me to read those off to you? It doesn't mean anything.
They won the Elms Road freaking something or other. Yeah, I totally agree. I'm the same thing here. There's a reason why I didn't watch NXT, and you can't just throw these guys in here. And we've been saying this for years and years. Bailey being the biggest one, they just threw her on TV, and everybody was just like, "Who are you?" Like, I don't know who she is. So you have to tell her story again. Whoever these are, Karrion Kross, which they are doing with him with the vignettes and things like that, and he did debut on the roster before. So you got to tell us who these people are on both shows, no question. I don't like that. I don't like matches just for the sake of matches, which we are getting some of that on the weekly shows. It's not too bad. I do like how the backstage promos are a little more real. Some, not all of them, but a lot of them are more real. I do like that.
Different shots, different
I
angles.
do like some of, even though I think it's kind of goofy, the stuff they're doing with Dexter Loomis and things like that. I think it's stupid, but I like how they have him like in the background of things, or like Nikki ASH and Dewdrop were in the background fighting over a car accident or something. So you have to pay attention to things,
right?
Like you have to go, what is that? And then you keep it in the back of your head. Maybe 2 weeks from now, they're going to do something and Rikishi will hit somebody with a car. I don't know, but you got to like keep watching. I like that. I think he's done a good job there.
And I like his belief in superstars too. That comment that he said on the show.
Let's get into that. Let's get into that interview with Ariel. The big thing.
That was, he kind of, and I'll paraphrase, I'll probably butcher it. There's thousands of wrestlers all over the world, if not millions right now, wrestling in gyms, wrestling in garages, wrestling in VFW halls.
In front of 5 people.
That's a wrestler. We need superstars. We need people that are going to pack arenas. make movies and do these big things and become larger than life characters.
Not everybody can be a WWF superstar. There's football players all over the world. They're not NFL football players, and I agree with him there. I totally agree with him there. More on the interview, man. What do you think? He was an absolute open book.
The NXT comment.
AEW, you mean?
Yeah. So they beat our developmental. Big deal.
And there's
I think that's got a lot of people talking.
That was the big one coming out right away because he was asked about AEW and are they competition and whatnot. And he said, no, everybody's competition. And people take that as a cop out. Take it for what you want. Every form of entertainment, Netflix, cable, baseball, basketball, everything is competition. So they're competition. But he goes, they beat our developmental. Good for you. Now everybody's, you wanted it to be a third brand. You wanted it to be a third brand. Now you're saying it's developmental now that you got beat. Okay, that is true. But let's say it is the third brand. Okay, you beat their third brand.
Good for them, right?
That's like the Lakers beating the Pistons G League team.
Congratulations.
I mean, okay, you beat our third brand. Okay, so you're proud of that? Like, people don't think about what they're saying.
There's still like 1 million plus viewers off of what they've got on Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah. You didn't beat their best. You didn't beat their best is the point. Whether you're just talking semantics, but now it is developmental once again. And he talked about that. I thought that was good, telling, about the change. And Triple H did. He bought up all the indie dudes. They decided to go back to where they originally were. We are developing talent. They're going to colleges and signing people and then bringing them in.
They don't care about, I'm sorry, you're not seeing it on their shows. They're not popping shots constantly at AEW. The only really guy who was Seth Rollins. That was really the only guy getting into it with him tit for tat. And that was not even part of his character.
Will Ospreay, he was getting into it with.
Maybe that was, but I mean, meanwhile, on the other station, they can't pop enough shots off.
Right.
It's the WWE this or that or Superstar or what sports entertainment.
Yeah. Jericho came out and he said his big thing about, we don't care about them. We're not focused on them at all. We're focused on ourselves.
NXT sucks.
And then and NXT sucks. Like, bro, your faction is called Sports Entertainers.
And everybody.
What do you mean you don't care? That's your that's your gimmick.
And your whole company's made up of NXT guys.
Right. Yeah. And literally Triple H just said they beat our developmental brand. He said like 8 words. Jericho went on for 5 minutes, but he doesn't care.
No.
I don't know. That was kind of goofy. More on Triple H. Got into his whole health thing. Went detailed, which we have not heard. That was man, it sounded pretty scary, Talked about him and Stephanie getting the call that Vince was getting the boot.
It's hard. Me and you have never been defenders of Triple H, Paul Levesque.
Not at all.
We've thought, in the past, he's almost CM Punk-esque. Buries people. And we have not been down with. I thought he handled himself marvelously. I thought he sounded great. I thought he handled each question with respect, especially the questions when he was asked on the other wrestlers.
About the ones coming back?
Yes, I thought he was really professional. And again, you may not like what he heard, but when you step back, I'm like what he said. When you step back and look at it, he was telling the truth.
And that's why, when I hear people, and I guess it's different things, but when people are like, oh, he was lying about AEW, he was lying about all that stuff. Well, he told the truth about 4 wrestlers who he was asked specifically, are they coming back? Sasha Banks. I don't know. That's up to her. She's got to figure it out. He went into details about her career. I would love to have her, but she's got to figure out what she wants to do. Bray Wyatt. He went into intimate detail that we have not heard from anyone before backstage, saying, he's creative as can be, but he's almost too creative. It's almost a detriment to himself. He keeps coming up with crazy stuff, and you got to rein him in. It's like you're babysitting the guy. You got to rein him in because he's so creative. Now, why would he say that about a guy he wants to bring back? He's telling the truth. If he wants the guy back, he would be like, I think he is the most fantastic man I have ever seen, and I hope he comes back tomorrow.
And
but
if he
didn't do that.
And if he does come back, he's setting the truth. But like, if you come back, you're coming back, and the booking team controls this. Like, we're gonna listen to you. But at the end of the day, don't get upset when I say, no, you can't murder someone with fire.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Right. Right. Well, you mean, and I love that too. You know, the whole he has to be reined in. Oh, Vince did not let him do what he wanted to do. Vince controlled him too much. He burned to death. What more did he want to do? You know, but you got to rein him in. But meanwhile, Russo needed to be reined in by Vince. Oh, Vince had to control him. Oh, yeah, but didn't have people, hypocrites. The other one just debuted, Braun Strowman. As we were talking, Braun Strowman just showed up. He was asked. He looks great. He just came out and he murdered the Alpha Academy. But, dude, he looks like he lost another 20, man. He's dieted down big time. And who was The Rock was the other one. And again, he was completely honest. He's like, yeah, we want him. If he can do it, let's go. Let's do it. And he said, I was supposed to work with him at 32. Movie came up. Didn't happen. He's like, we shot videos and everything. Had to can it. So I can't promise, but hell yeah, we want him, you know? So I thought he was an open book, man. And it was really refreshing to see.
Tale of two interviews this weekend with owners of companies or top dogs. Tale of two companies.
Yeah, was it not? The other one going off about he was mad about the paper, and I get it. They put Clash on Labor Day weekend, and they had the NXT show Sunday afternoon, and he was all bent out of shape, and he blamed if they have lower pay-per-view buys, it will be because of that. It will be because you haven't been doing good. Like, people are kind of like weren't excited about this pay-per-view at all. So, and he went on a tirade and dropping F-bombs and everything. And I've got more money than Jim Crockett, and I'm not going to stand for this effing. It's so odd. And you could tell it's gotten to him. He's rattled. MJF, man, you got to assume that he's going to cut a scathing promo on Wednesday. Yeah, here's where I've been. This is why I came back. All that stuff. He's going to fake shoot, work shoot. And then you would think he's fighting Punk right away, but is Punk going to be around for the next month? Who knows? So I mean, it's interesting. It's very.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody could make a guess right now.
I don't know. And yeah, this angle, you sure got a lot vested in this.
Like
if
everything.
It is an angle. If it's not an angle, oh boy.
Yeah, because you got to think, we've heard the word ultimatums thrown around, and we've heard lawsuits thrown around. And I mean, what if Kenny and the Bucks say, like, we ain't coming back till that guy is gone?
Hope these people on Wednesday like Dixie Carter.
And they got Dixie Khan there already.
You might be coming in. I don't know. Hey, and at the end of the day, as much as sometimes that show drives me nuts, I want it to succeed.
Yes.
I mean, I want stars to be born on there. I want a viable product. People forget that did not, if you're under 25 years old right now, no offense, but I mean, you
didn't
don't tell me you were watching the Wars at 2, and so it was awesome. And having two products forces the other product to be better. You can't have off nights or off pay-per-views granted, some of them stunk, but you know what? You get what I'm saying, though.
I think they've already done that, too. Like, forget about just this. I think they've done it.
Yeah.
I think especially since the pandemic, I think WWE has been better. I mean, we get on here every time and say how great their pay-per-views are. What they've had, like one that we were like, in 2022, like one. It was bad there, and I think they've done good. And now let's see what Triple H has got. He's at least got people's interest perked up a little bit, which I like.
People are giving him a chance.
Oh, they absolutely are. And they should. And they should, man. And he's got to get his ground. He's not going to come in here like Carl Lewis, man. He's got to figure it out a little bit too. So anyway, Nick, appreciate it, man.
Thanks for having me,
thanks for sitting here rapping about everything. Man, gonna be a crazy week, especially on Wednesday. It's gonna be.
I have not
crazy.
looked forward to Dynamite this much in a long time.
Well, and you know what?
I mean,
maybe they're doing the right thing.
Maybe they're doing. I mean, because, but not in a good way. I'm gonna go watch it to see if the pillars hold up. Is this show gonna crash before my very own eyes?
Yeah, you're tuning in to see the car wreck.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, NASCAR Wednesday. So we'll appreciate it, Nick, as always.
Thanks
and
so
everybody
much,
out there, please hit like,
everyone.
please hit subscribe, and thanks for watching. Our last video, man, a lot of people watched it. Appreciate it. Thanks. Keep watching.
You.
Check you later. See ya.
Pleasure's all yours, Bucky boys.